All right, hello again. Welcome to a new week. We are working on Monday 11th, and yeah, Monday the 11th of January and the 12th, Tuesday the 12th. Okay, our calendar. We are right here, Monday the 11th, Tuesday the 12th. Google Meet on the 12th. We will begin our project this week. Our quiz is on Thursday. I'm always just going to have quizzes on Thursday. It doesn't matter whether we ended our work or not. It's just easier that you always have quizzes on Thursdays. Okay, just remember that. We have then a week and a half for our final project of the semester. And then the final week, the 25th to 29th, is the boot camp. Make up any work from marking period number 2 to try to boost your grades, okay? To make sure we pass and we don't have to make up any classes from the semester, all right? Great, let's get to work. In this assignment, I did not break it down in days. It didn't really fit into 2 separate days, easily broken down. So just kind of work on it. Take a pause when you need. Come back on the next day. Okay. So objective is why did Japan industrialize during the Meiji period? How did industrialization affect Japan? You're going to explain the social, political, and economic impacts of industrialization on Japan during the Meiji Restoration. All right, so what we're going to look at first is a little bit of review, looking at the Tokugawa laws of Japan in 1634. Now, we actually looked at this document a little bit bigger in our past couple units when we looked at the Tokugawa back in November, in the World of 1750 unit, right? So what it was the Tokugawa shogun had laid down these laws limiting and kind of isolating Japan. So, one, Japanese ships shall not be sent abroad to other countries. No Japanese person shall be sent abroad. Anyone breaking this law shall suffer the penalty of death. Okay, so these laws that were put down by the leader, by the shogun, the emperor, that no one's allowed to leave Japan. Okay, shall not buy goods on board foreign ships, all that stuff. So 2 questions to kind of just help bring this back into memory, that based on the Tokugawa laws in 1634, what was Tokugawa's point of view concerning people of the outside? You kind of already answered that in that question, or that unit with versus specifically the Tokugawa and the Mughal had differing viewpoints on outsiders. Okay, and what effects did you think the Tokugawa shogunate policies had on Japan? Right. So here's a little blurb down here. I cut a bunch of it out, but this is an actual important event. The Japanese isolation came to an end in 1853 when Commodore Matthew Perry of the United States Navy, commanding 2 steamships and 2 sailing vessels, sailed into Tokyo Harbor. So essentially, the United States forced Japan to open up its borders, start trading again, and they created the Treaty of Kanagawa, which permitted trade between Japan and other merchant ships. I did include a bunch of slides to kind of help you remember that Japan is isolated for about 200 years. They have no contact with the outside world for about 200 years, no trade during the Tokugawa shogunate. All right, right. This is the samurai culture, very industrial, very non-industrial, very agrarian society. Right, kimonos, kabuki theater, very unique Japanese culture was developed during this time period because they did not have that cultural diffusion of other cultures coming in. Right, we do see a similarity, even though they do not talk to each other. They happen at different times between feudalism of Japan and feudalism of Europe. However, this all ends in 1853 when the U.S. under their Commodore Matthew Perry shows up with some steamships, steel ships instead of wooden ships, and opens Japan's borders. Right, here is a Japanese point of view of those ships coming right here is one, here's another. Okay, obviously the Japanese were a little like, oh, whoa, this is new, this is different, this is kind of crazy and scary. So they ended up really just kind of adopting anything that the foreign powers did. So they adapt. And instead of like China did not adapt. China did not industrialize. China tried to kind of stay on their own and ended up, as you can see in this cartoon, being carved up by England, Germany, Russia, France, and even Japan later out of the date. Okay, so definitely look at these. That's kind of all before. And then I have broken down some political, economic, and social effects. but you'll also be able to get all of this throughout the document as well. Okay, so this is why it's kind of hard to really break it down into 2 days. Just do it as you have time. You're going to look at social, political, and economic effects. So as you examine the following documents related to the Meiji Restoration, fill in the graphic organizer below with evidence of the effects of industrialization on Japan during this period. So there's a column for social effects, political effects, economic effects. For these 3 documents, or 4 documents, I think there are, read and annotate and color code word or phrases that show any changes. So social effects, political effects, or economic effects. That turned out really, really light. So let's maybe change that to a little bit brighter. There you go. Okay. All right, great. So from here on, you're just going to be color coding words or phrases that show any changes. Blue for social changes, society, so social classes, anything with fashion or culture, food, music, anything that would be different from traditional Japanese culture to new Meiji culture or other people's culture. Political is anything with the government or military. Economics, anything with trade, importing, exporting, industry, or technology. Okay. So first, you're looking at the Constitution of the Empire of Japan, the Meiji Constitution. So this is probably going to be dealing with any political changes or effects, right? Because that is with government. So you can read this and find anything that would be a new effect, right? The emperor being supreme control of the navy, we would want to highlight in red. If it was social, you would make it as a different color, okay, or blue, right? Here, no Japanese subjects shall be arrested, detained, tried, or punished, or unless according to the law. Right? They've got lots of different things that kind of sound similar to our Constitution. So anything that is different would be any kind of government change should be highlighted in red. As you move forward into the second document, right? This one is about, in addition to political changes, Japan changed economically and socially. So this one's going to look at economic and social changes. So we want to make sure anything economic is going to be green, anything social is going to be blue. All right, so we've got some new steam locomotives, trains, new steam ships. You've got new industry and automobile. You've got a Japanese silk factory. Okay, they are instituting a European banking system. So that is going to be economic, highlighted green. Okay, all stuff like that. Document 3 is their inability to defend themselves from Western nations inspired the Meiji government to invest heavily in modernizing the country's military. So that is, right, a red political change effect. You can see this new Japanese ship looks like a United States Navy ship or a British Navy ship. They have industrialized it. Here you also see, right, this is no longer a samurai soldier. This looks like a Western soldier, like someone that would have fought kind of in like the American Civil War or something later, or in World War I. Right? They don't look like, this is not, except for maybe the helmet, it's not samurai really at all. Okay. And then the last one is looking at Western science and technology, right? This is civilization of the Enlightenment. You can see that, right? This is the royal family wearing Victorian style dresses, right? European style military uniforms instead of kimonos or samurai style, shogun style military uniforms. We can see at this second image here that this is the royal family again, or of a family from 1939, demonstrating the mix of Western influence. You see some in Western suits and glasses and military uniforms, while some are still in their right kimonos here, here, or we've got more Western style here, 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 right? Okay. So we do see a little mixing of the culture and the fashion trend there. So over the 2 days, as you read and annotate, highlight all the different kinds of changes, social, political, or economic. Just 2 questions at the end. Describe one cause of industrialization in Japan, and then describe 2 social, political, and or economic effects. So just 2 across those 3 different arenas. All right. Remember, you have your quiz coming up this week and the project following. All right. I will talk to you guys on the Google Meet. Have a good day.